You know what's something, you guys? Like, I feel like I'm not allowed to be passionate about stuff. Like, people, like, don't like it when I show emotion. You know what I mean? Like, including, like, my sister, for example, was allowed to be an absolute maniac. But, like, if I showed an iota of emotion, I was, like, about to stab someone. You know? Like, no one lets me, like, have a Kanye moment. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't, like, and it's because, like, and it's, like, weird because, like, I don't come for people, like, necessarily sometimes, but you know what's something? Like, you know what annoyed me today is, like, I was at the grocery store because I needed celery, and, like, King Cullen doesn't have it like Whole Foods does, where they have the little celery snack packs. And I was legitimately about to get, like, chopped onion because that was, like, the only pre-made chopped thing that they had, and I would have eaten the onion. You know what I mean? I feel like I don't remember where I was going with this. And I just feel like, you know what I mean? I just feel like people don't let me be myself, you know? Because I was also, like, walking around, like, you know, it's like, and I get, like, being presentable. Like, I was walking around with my hair, like, all out like this, and my hair was, like, all out, and I'm, like, wearing my beige pajama set that I made up, you know? And, like, I just feel like, I can't, like, be myself. Like, people, like, why, like, I get, like, needing to be put together, but I feel like that's for men. Like, I feel like women pressure you to be put together for men, for the male gaze, and then they hate on you when you look good, you know? But yeah, like, the topic of older women being male centered, it's a hot topic. It's a hot topic. I can go on. Like, recently, like, I always complain when I have to drive out to the Hamptons because I'm always working in the few times I'm in the Hamptons or whatever, it's like for work purposes. And I was there, like, I'm gonna put them on blast a little bit. Like, I don't really care. I was at the Ralph Lauren in Southampton, and, like, months ago. And there's this older lady that they had me working with, and she, like, they always, like, seem friendly at first when they're, like, intimidated by you. Like, they go over the top to be friendly with you. And, you know, I was doing a job there. I wasn't there permanently. I was just, like, you know, it was kind of like a gig situation. I wasn't, like, officially employed with them. They just hired me for the day. And, you know, I was doing something that I've had, like, years experience with. And I get, like, I get told a lot that I look younger than I am. Like, people are always, like, surprised, including, like, people who are way younger than me are always, like, surprised when I tell them my age. And also, I may be combined with the fact that I am quiet at work. You know, people think, like, I'm slow, and I know that there are some superiors who prefer to hire people who they are deemed to be slow to make sure they always, like, maintain their status or whatever, which of course is not the way to go. But there's, like, a lot of people who are in managerial positions who get threatened very easily by people who they deem to be, like, smarter than them, whatever. So I think I look slow, you know what I mean? Like, number one, I look younger than I am. Number two, I'm quiet, which I don't understand the quiet thing, because I don't understand the quiet thing. My extended family does the same thing with, like, quiet people thinking they're stupid. Every single quiet person, maybe because I understand it, because I've, you know, believe it or not, I'm quiet at times, you know, and I get it. Like, I was a mute my whole child, like, other kids would call me a mute, like, my entire childhood. And, like, I get it. Like, if I see a quiet person at work or whatever setting, I assume that they, like, know everything. I'm like, I'm not, like, you know, first of all, I'm not, like, intimidated by them or whatever. Like, I don't have any bad feelings towards them. They're usually the ones who are the most emotionally regulated. And also, I just assume that they know everything. I assume the opposite of them being stupid. I assume that, like, if you see a quiet person, they probably know everyone's bit. Like, they probably know everything that's going on. You know? They're observant. Like, quiet people at work are the opposite of stupid. They are the opposite of stupid. Those are the people who know better than to get into the politics and crap, and they probably know more than the people who are actively involved in the drama and the politics. Like, those people are the wise sages. Those are the wise sages, are the quiet people. Those are the smart people. But anywho, like, because I'm quiet, like, and it's usually, like, the stupid people. It's usually people who have very low IQ points, very few brain cells, who, like, look at me and think, oh, quiet equals stupid. Like, that, ironically, that's, like, a very, like, dumb thing to think. So, you know, like, I think, like, people are maybe kind of surprised that I know how to do certain things, or am observant with certain things because, you know, I was doing a job, even though I was only hired for the day. This is a job that I've worked full time, part time, whatever. And I have like a lot of experience in, like, you know, and I was like, you know, I've worked with, you know, high end, like, you know, for like, I'm like, you know, like stuff, you know, like I like, you know, I used to work like in certain places, whatever, you know, and it's like, it wasn't like a big deal or anything. You know, it was kind of like slightly competitive jobs, and like I got them because like I was very like active, you know, but I'm not like smarter than anyone else. And there's also like jobs that aren't really that big of a deal, but in, like to those, you know, like retail is like people who are like, you know, they're not like all there, you know, whatever. So like they think things are like they're bored, you know, like that's why they like think everything's a big deal. But anyways, so I think maybe like she made the assumption that I would be like her little minion or something, because I guess I maybe combination of me being young looking and me being quiet, she thought I would be like a minion. Meanwhile, I've had like lots and lots of experience at this job I was hired for the day to do, so like I kind of knew certain things. And she straight up like told me to my face that she thinks I'm really, really smart, and then she proceeded to try and ice me out to get me to leave. And like that's how a lot of older women are. Like I had when I was upstate, like oh my god, when I was upstate, I had this job at the grocery store because my extended family, who I am no longer in contact with, was like desperately trying to get me to stay quote nearby, even though everything is spaced far apart and all the jobs are in the city areas, and that they decided to live in the middle of nowhere because they're slow. You know, like they like, and the one time I listened to them, I regretted it, and they got so mad at me for not listening to them because they did not know what they were doing. But yeah, like I had a job at a grocery store. It was like a local grocery store or whatever, and I was working with older freaking single older women with the gray hairs and everything, and with all of the grays. I have grays, but like, you know, like I've had grays since I was 12. I cover them up with well, I have to go professional now, whatever. But anyways, so I was working with this older woman, and like, you know, I'm a creative, and when I was working retail, I would always try to get into the displays. Like I was always into like, you know, I was always into the mannequins. Like, you know, I love styling, you know, like stuff, because I'm not like, you know, like I was like a creative, so that's like I'm very with the displays and anything that's visual. So I would rearrange, you know, they had me like in like a room, and they would get mad at me if I wasn't doing something, even though there was nothing to do. It was like that type of a situation. So I would rearrange the displays. I would make it better than what they had it. They would be like, wow, you're so good at it. And then they'd like get mad at me, you know, and they would like nitpick at every little thing, you know. And I remember this one time they hired, and like shortly after me, they hired this boy. And this boy was younger than me. So these women are like way older than me. This guy, and they wouldn't feed me. Like I would be standing in that room and they would not feed me, and like, you know, you could buy food there or whatever, and so I would like buy like a bar or something because I was standing there for like 8 hours straight and stuff, like, and they would get mad at me for buying, even though I bought the bar just so I could eat it because they wouldn't give me a lunch break. This little boy comes in who's younger than me, and these women are way older than me. They are all over him, like to the point that it was like predatory, because as I said, he was younger than me. And these women were like too old for me. You know, like if I were a boy, they would be too old for me. You know what I mean? And they would be like pulling out like steak, like these thick pieces of steaks from the fridge, from like the meat section, and putting it on their little griddle and like giving it to him to eat. It was weird. It was so weird. It was borderline predator. I was like, do I need to report that? This is, and they would be like all over him too. I'm like, oh, like male centered. And they were like, this one was divorced. Like, and the other one was just like this weird Australian lady who hated me for no reason and would like find any opportunity to nitpick at me. And she would like say that I said things when I didn't say them, and I would hear her from the kitchen because everything was connected. She was weird. Yeah, they were all over this little boy. And this is what I'm saying about like male-centered older women. And both of those women were old and single for a very long time, yet they were still male-centered.